Greetings! We are in Unit 3, Module 3, Session 4. Our home connection is called Decimals, Fractions, and Story Problems. It's a two-pager. Put your name and number on it, please. Before we begin, just a little refresher course. Here I have some of the base 10 pieces that hopefully you've worked with physically or maybe in the Bridges application on your computer. You'll notice that they are all yellow, but in the application you can toggle them and make the mats red, the strips green, and the units are yellow. Those stay yellow. Which is why when I'm in class I regularly, let's see if I can bump these up, I like to think of it as the red mats are your whole numbers, and I usually think of the first digit as red. Then I have my decimal, which would go in between, okay? The mats are green, so I think of the tenths as a green number. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but I wrote that in, I put a little yellow underline here, but my yellow doesn't appear to be showing up great on the screen. But I think of that hundredths as being yellow, okay? Sometimes I substitute black. So this number is 1.11 because there's one mat, one strip, and 1/100th, or 1 unit, okay? If I decided to add another unit here, then my number would be 1.12 because there are now 2 units, or 2/100ths, but there's still only 1/10 and 1 whole mat, the number 1. If I were to change it some more, I could maybe do this, and then my number would be 1.22 because I have 1 mat, which is the number 1, 2/10, my green number, my first place value after the decimal, and then 2/100ths, which would be my second number after the decimal. Okay, that's just a little bit of review. And I could get crazy and zoom out, and I could maybe add like another mat, and then my number would be 2.22. 2 and that would be, well, you could say 2 would be 22/100ths, because if you counted this 10 plus this 10 plus these 2, that would be 22, and that would be 22 out of 100, right? Because you don't have enough to make 1, but you do have 22 out of 100. So you would write that decimal, just to make sure we're clear, you would write this as 2, because I have 2 mats, and then I have 22/100ths, or you could think of it as 2 strips and 2 units. Okay, but when I say that, I would say 2 and 22/100ths. Okay, now let's dig in. I just want to make sure that we're on track. It's always good to see it and maybe have a little bit of review. So here is my page. Let's get rocking and rolling. Write the place value of the underlined digit in each number. The place values are spelled correctly for you here. Ooh, nice. So we know that we have hundreds, tens, ones, tenths, and hundredths. And just to make sure we are dreadfully clear, this is where the decimal appears when you're looking at numbers, okay? So I might have 153 point, or 153 and then my fraction, my decimal comes after that, okay? So this was 2.03, here's my decimal, so that would have been 2 and 3/100ths. So we're doing place values for the underlined number. The 3 was underlined, that's in the hundredths place. You look at where the decimal is and you move over as far as the underline goes. Let's zoom in just a pinch, not too much because I don't want to lose our kind of answer key up here at the top. But if I look at 3.17 points, so it would be like 3.17, what is the 1? 3.1, that is in the tenths place, okay? I have 120 and 4/10, 120, it's right next to the decimal. 120, that 0 is in the ones place, okay? I'm going to let you do these next 3 on your own, but I'm going to point out where the number would look like. 506.92, 506.92, 506 and 92/100ths. Where is that 5? Write down your answer. Pause this video if you need to at any point. Letter D. 54 and 29 hundredths. Where does the 9 go? It's the second number after the decimal. Here's the decimal, 1, 2. Write your answer for letter D. And then for letter E, I'm not even going to help you even a little bit. Just pause the video and figure out where that 7 is compared to our hundreds, tens, ones, tenths, and hundredths. Okay? Pause if you need to. Write each decimal number. They gave you 2 examples. Oh my goodness, they're so nice. 23 and, that's the decimal, 2 tenths. So they wrote 23 point, there's the and, 2 tenths. Okay? 130 and 5 hundredths. 130 and 5 hundredths. Just to be clear, if I would have written 130.5, that would not be 5 hundredths, would it? That would be 5 tenths, which is not the same. Okay? So make sure you double check your work and say, does it make sense? 6 and 7 hundredths. So and is the decimal, so I have 6 and 7 hundredths. 7 hundredths. Where is the hundredths? According to here, here's my hundredths, right? So if I have 7 of them, I have to have 0.07. That is 7 in the hundredths place. If I were to write 6.7, that would be 6 and 7 tenths, because this is the tenths place. Okay? And then I'm going to let you do this on your own, except I want to point out 265 and is your decimal, 8 tenths. Tenths is the spot right after the decimal. Okay? Pause this video if you need to. Write each fraction or mixed number as a decimal number. So they might give you a fraction. They might give you a mixed number, which has a whole number in front. We're going to live. If we look at these examples, we can see that from these mixed numbers, anytime you have a whole number, that is the number that comes before the decimal. 5 and 3 tenths, 5 point. 12 and 4 hundredths, that would be 12.4 hundredths. 3 and 17 hundredths is 3 point, there's the and then 17 hundredths. So if I'm going to put this in a decimal, first I have to tell myself, is there a whole number involved? No, there isn't, so I can put a 0 there, and then my decimal. And now I can focus on 7 tenths. 7 tenths. Letter B, 3 and 5 hundredths. 3 point, there's the and, 5 hundredths. Am I going to do 5 or 0.5? What's the difference? If I take my little scrap of paper here, 3 and 5 hundredths, or is it 3 and 5 hundredths? Which place is the tens here? Which place is the hundreds here? So it should be 3 and 5 hundredths. Letter C, 4 hundredths. How many whole numbers do I have in front? 0. So I put a 0 before the decimal. And then I have 4 hundredths. Once again, am I going to be writing 0.4 or am I going to be writing 0.04? Which one is hundredths? Well, this is my hundredths place, so I'm going to want 0.04. That is 4 hundredths. That is your fraction. Okay? These last 3, I'm going to ask you to do on your own. All of them do have a whole number in front, so this will be 4 point something, 1 point something, 1 point something. Okay? The whole number comes before the decimal. Okay? Pause this video and finish D through F. Use a greater than, less than, or equal sign, I think it's funny they didn't write that in there, to show the relationship between the decimal numbers below. So I grew up saying that the alligator eats the bigger number. 1.09 is less than 1.9. 1.9 is bigger, so the alligator eats the bigger number. As you go through these, I highly encourage you to look at these like a pattern. I'm going to zoom way in. Hopefully my resolution stays. But I know that this number the number before the decimal are the red mats. Okay, I know that the number after the decimal, those are the green strips, and then after that, if I don't know if my yellow will show up, those are my yellow units, my smallest one. Okay, so I'm going to start by looking at the red numbers. I have a 1 and a 1. They're the same, so I can't tell which number is bigger yet. I don't have enough information. So if I wanted to, I could maybe ignore the 1, pretend it's not there, because they're the same. Okay? Then I look at the green numbers, these strips, the tenths. This is a 1, this is a 2. Which one is larger? Alligator eats the larger number. You might say to yourself, but this says 12, and this says 2. I thought 12 was bigger than 2. Well, we know that one strip is 10 units, and the yellow number are individual units. That's 12. 10 plus 2 is 12. But 2 greens is 20 units. 20 is larger than 12. And I'm sorry that my markers are bleeding together. I'll try to do I'll use a black pen on the next one. Okay, so letter B, let's do the same thing. We're going to start with the whole number. So you always start at the left. 3 versus 3. What do you think? They're the same number, so we don't have enough information. Okay? Now I'm going to look at the green number, the tenths. I've got a 5 and I've got a 4. 5's bigger than 4, then I am going to have the alligator eat the bigger number. This is greater than this. Once again, you might say, but 5, that sounds smaller than 48. The problem is, where's my black pen to make sure I write this down, not too small. My problem is that 5 tenths is the same as 50 hundredths, and this is 48 hundredths. And when you look at it this way, you clearly see that this one is bigger. That's why we start at the left and we move to the right as we compare the numbers. I'm going to do one more with you, and then I would like you to do the rest on your own. Once again, we're going to start on all the way to the left, and I'm going to look at the 23. Okay, and I'm going to look at the 23. As you probably guessed, they are the same, so I can't use that information to tell me which one is larger. Okay. Now I'm going to look at the greens, and hopefully I can find my green pen to be able to mark this. I have an 8 and an 8. What do you think? Once again, that's not enough information because my tenths are exactly the same. So I'm going to have to look at my yellow number and determine which one's larger. And guess what? The 5 is larger than the 1, so the alligator is going to eat the larger number. You can do the exact same thing with these last ones in multiple ways, okay? And I'm going to let you do that on your own. Pause this video if you need to, but I just want to make sure that I'm wise with your time, okay? Here we go. Write 2 fractions to show what part of each mat has been shaded in. One with a denominator 10, and an equivalent fraction with a denominator 100. They gave you a great example that I hope that you will look at and enjoy, because they were very kind when they gave you this example. I guess I can zoom in a little bit. 6 tenths, there are 6 strips of green, and I could take my green highlighter and I could make it look kind of like the strips do that you can manipulate on your computer, or maybe if your class has the base 10 strips, you've played with them before. But I have 6 out of 10 strips because this entire square is made up of 10 strips, but only 6 of them are highlighted, are filled in. But if I break this into 100 squares, each of these 6 strips has 10 in them. So that's 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, which is 60 out of the 100. The easiest way to think of it, if you can memorize it accurately, is to think of anytime you want to convert from tenths to hundredths, to add a 0 to both numbers. And you can always check your work and you'll find that that's true. But let's move over here and see what we think. One answer is going to be with tenths. one answer is going to be with hundredths, and you can write that in first. If you're thinking tenths, you're thinking strips. And if you count every single one of them, how many strips of 10 do you have? There should be 9 of them. Now, if each of those 9 have 10 little squares in them, how many of the 100 do you have? And I hope that you would say 90, because you could take 9 and add a 0, 10 and add a 0. 9 times 10 is 90. 10 times 10 is 100. I'm going to let you do the last 2 on your own as well. I know it probably feels like I'm not helping you very much today, but these patterns work really well. And if you get hung up, maybe you should rewind the video for a little bit and just watch it to see if you truly understood how we were doing the patterns. Last Friday, Ray went home with his cousin Jewel after school. They took the city bus to Jewel's house. It costs $1.65 to ride the bus. Ray had 5 quarters, a dime, and 3 nickels. How much more money does he need to ride the bus? Oh no, he does not have enough money to ride the bus. This is a huge bummer, but we can figure this out. Let's see, 5 quarters, that's $1.25, right? A dime, that's 10 cents. And 3 nickels, 5, 10, 15, so that's 15 cents, okay? That's how much money he has. If I add up all of this, what do I have? Well, $1.25 plus a dime is $1.35. $1.35 plus 15 is $1.50. If I am trying to get $1.65 and you're like, gosh, I have $1.50, how much more money do I need to get to $1.65? Well, I'm going to add no dollars, but I am going to add 15 cents. Okay? $1.50 plus 15 cents would be $1.65, which is what we need. So how much do we need to ride the bus? 15 more cents. Okay? How much did it cost Ray and Jewel to ride the bus in all? Interesting. It says, Ray went home with his cousin Jewel after school. They took the city bus to Jewel's house. So if it costs $1.65 to go one way, but there's 2 people going, shouldn't I add another $1.65? I think I should. Okay? And I am going to let you add that on your own. Make sure you start on the right side, carry your 1, add, carry your 1, and you should have a really nice answer. Okay? Ray's school is 1.7 miles from his house. He walks to and from school every day. How many miles does he walk each day? Show all your work. So let's say that this is Ray's house here, and this is the school here. School. Kind of a boring drawing. Ray's school is 1.7 miles from his house. He walks to school and back every day. So in one day, he's going to go to school and back. So he's going to go 1.7 miles this way, 1.7 miles this way. I'm going to let you answer the rest of that question. Sorry that my ink is kind of bled through the page, but I think we can read it okay. How many miles does he walk in a 5-day school week? Well, if you figure out the answer to this problem, whatever this answer is, you're going to take it times 5, aren't you? Because there are 5 days in a week. He's going to walk 1.7 forward, 1.7 back, and then he's going to do that 5 total times. So that's going to be your work here. Add it as accurately as you possibly can. Okay? Thanks for tuning in. If you have questions, ask a teacher, ask a math wizard if you know one. We love to answer questions about math. Rewind any parts of the video that you need to. Don't forget that if we're on YouTube, you can speed me up or slow me down, depending on whether you think I'm talking too fast or too slow. Check you later.